Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our partnership spotlight today.
No, we have a wonderful partner with us. We have our beautiful 305 Pink Pack, who has just been from the beginning a substantial referral partner when we first started moving across the nation. So I'm so happy to have Rosemary here. It's always so good to be able to hear all the good work that they're doing and to see how we collaborate in order to bring our two nonprofits together. So, Erin, thanks
Absolutely.
for hosting.
Absolutely. Happy to be here. And I love these partnership spotlights because, Sue, like you said, it gives us an opportunity to not only share the incredible work of other organizations with whom we collaborate, but also to share with our Unite for Her community what else is out there and who else you can tap into for information and services in your area or just serving the patient population if it relates to you. So I really love hosting and calling out the incredible work of others in this advocacy space. So happy to be here.
Totally agree. And
Yeah.
all these virtual education events, we can't do them without the support of our sponsors. And we have quite a few that are supporting now over 40 events that we do a year. A part of that is the partnership sponsorship and or partnership spotlight. And they are for UFH Connect, West, Merck, Lilly, Gilead Sciences. And then we also have additional support with our gold sponsors, Pfizer, GSK, and Daiichi Sankyo. And our supporting sponsors are AbbVie, Agendia, and TerraSera Therapeutics. So thank you all for making it possible. We really appreciate all of the work and collaboration that we get in the community. I say that over and over again. Us alone, we can't do the work that we do. We need all of our community members, our nonprofit partners, our medical partners, and our pharma partners and corporate partners, volunteers to make it all happen. So thank you all. And we're excited for a fabulous April Ask the Experts, Erin.
I love that. Yep. So before we move forward, while many of you may know us, let's introduce ourselves. So my name's Erin Pellegrin. I'm our Senior Director of Culinary Nutrition here at Unite for Her.
And I am Sue Weldon, founder and CEO of Unite for Her. And I always like to say 20-year survivor.
Absolutely. So we're happy to bring this segment streaming live on our Facebook page. So for any of those that may be part of the 305 Pink Pack community, please feel free to put into the comments the experience you've had in working with Rosemary and her incredible staff. Or if you have any questions for her, feel free to pop them in the chat and we will answer all of those questions as we move along. But before we jump into our main event, we always have so many education segments going up. So I like to share a little bit of what we can look forward to throughout the rest of the month of April. So next week, we have a virtual hangout coming to you. Really exciting. This was a reschedule from the past. So if you have been looking forward to it, get ready. On Tuesday, the 22nd, we have our virtual hangout, and it is a makeup how-to. So we will be working with an expert in the space of senior cosmetic and medical tattoo, Mandy Solar. She's been with us before, but she will be teaching us all her expert tips and techniques to enhance our natural beauty, boost our confidence, and help us all create a look that is perfect for us. So we hear so often from our community, some of those changes, the physical changes a person may experience as a result of time and medications and surgery. And so it can feel awkward when we're trying to get ourselves together and things have changed. So we have Mandy, to teach us how to do that. So that'll be a really fun segment next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. And then we've got another Q&A coming. This is another hot topic. Love this. So another Ask the Experts to round out the month on the 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Ask the Experts on endocrine therapy Q&A. And we will be joined by oncology and hematology specialist at Weill Cornell, Dr. Evelyn Taiwo. So she will be answering all of your questions about hormone therapy, the effects of the various treatments, why they're so critical to risk reduction and overall survivorship, and plenty more. So be sure to submit your own questions for Dr. Taiwo via the Unite for Her Connect. So you can go to uniteforher.org/UFH Connect to submit your own questions. So two great events we have coming next week.
Yeah, thank you, Erin. And I love, Erin, that you touched on things do change, right? I'm 20 years out and I still find things changing from treatment or something I always wanted to do and never got to. And going back to that makeup segment, it took me a long time to dive in and finally do my eyebrows because I did lose all of my hair. I did lose all of my eyelashes. And, you're always putting them on every day and they're okay and they're fine. But here you have Mandy, who is this amazing tattoo artist that she's like, Sue, I got you. Let's do it. And then we did it live. So you could actually watch that one. This is almost like a second to that one. But
Yeah,
for all of us that have gone through that, and it just gives you a little bit of a lift, a little bit of confidence, it's well worth it.
absolutely. Yeah,
And I'm so glad that she always is there to lean in and help us, navigate whether it's nipple tattooing, eyebrows, eyelashes, like, yes, right? Like we want to
yeah,
feel back to normal, if not better, feel good.
yep,
And she
yep,
helps us get there in a way that is just so authentic and kind. And yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Love that. So really looking forward to both segments. It'll
agree.
be great. Yep.
Agree. All right, Erin, should we hop in?
Yeah, let's do this. Would you like to
Mhm.
introduce Rosemary
I'd
or
love to introduce Rosemary.
love that?
Yeah, Rosemary was one of our first partners, one of our first recruiting partners. So it's my honor to have you here. Thank you, Rosemary. And you have some great news, and we'll get into that. But I love that you're in your new space. So that makes me so happy because we know how that feels. Rosemary is the founder of 305 Pink Pack and a Miami-based nonprofit that provides vital, direct, and support services for local women in cancer treatments. She was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 40 and was blessed to have her family and loved ones support her, her husband, Oscar, and their daughter, Elisa, who was only 8 months old at the time. Seeing women with limited resources and struggle going through treatment prompted Rosemary to create 305 Pink Pack, which ensures that local women can access their treatment and recover from it but by offering transportation, childcare, support services, and more. Since it launched in 2020, 305 Pink Pack has provided over 12,000 rides to cancer-related appointments, grocery assistance, and peer support to more than 400 women um, in the area. And cancer is very overwhelming, as we know. Um, but being a part of this community, you can be sure that the pack is always has your back. So love that you're here today. Really appreciate the collaboration that we do. I feel like, where we don't offer certain services, you lean in, and vice versa, where you may not have certain services we lean in, and all for our community to make them stronger and just have those resources that, I know you and I felt very blessed to have during our cancer treatment. Yeah. So
No.
Rosemary, thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's so wonderful to see both of you and be part of this amazing community. Thank you so, so much for taking the time with me today.
Yeah. Rosemary, I have to say, I thought your organization was older than just 2020.
No, we
Yeah.
we
So,
started at the best worst possible time, which was
yeah.
January of 2020. We had all of our
Mm.
fundraisers set for March, April, May, and then
Oh, there you
boom.
go.
But, as with everything, we learned to pivot, and here we
Yeah.
are, 5 years later.
Yeah. Oh, so good. Welcome to the world of Zoom, right? You got in there
Yes.
very quickly.
Oh, we
Yeah.
learned
And
very
I,
quickly.
I think that's when we met you, maybe a year later, very much in the beginning.
It was very much in the beginning,
Hmm.
actually through a mutual patient who was part of your wellness program and was mentioning
Mm.
about the grocery gift cards and the passport package. I was like, wait a minute, this is amazing. I have to connect and learn more about this. And so the timing on that was perfect.
Oh, so good. Well, I know we sort of heard about what prompted you to start 305 Pink Pack, right? That personal story, that ability to have access and wanting to make sure that everybody else had access to. Um, but when you originally started, what did it look like for you?
Oh, it was terrifying. It's one of those things that you have all the best intentions in the world and you have no idea what you're fully getting into. But we had a plan. We started our January of 2020 year with $600 in the bank, and we said, we're doing this. We're going for it,
Mm.
and we're gonna gear up and really focus on those needs that are unmet in our communities, primarily transportation. That was the main thing that we really wanted to focus on. And so when we started, it was a slow start while people were still trying to hear about us and learn about what we were doing in the community. And then all of a sudden, by the end of the year, it was just an overwhelming amount of people that we met who
Mm.
were in need of services. And so we learned so much in that year, and we really got our feet not just wet, but soaked with knowledge and a lot of on-the-job learning, because I was not in the nonprofit world before this.
Mhm.
But it was an amazing experience, and we've learned so much from the women that we serve. And as time goes by, we've expanded our services. We didn't start off offering services to women with metastatic breast cancers. And, in learning more about their needs, as soon as we could, we expanded the program to that,
So
and have
good.
since continued offering services based on what our members tell us the emerging needs are in the community. So we really look to them to learn as much as we can of what the needs are now.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
so
And I know
good.
that we'll touch a little bit more, Rosemary, on the populations that you do serve, but diving a little bit more into that evolution over the last 5 years, what have you learned or what have you expanded on in terms of those unmet needs for your community?
Yeah, we've really expanded further on our need for transportation and childcare services. And so childcare services look different for everyone. So sometimes it's helping out with daycare costs, sometimes it's school transportation, sometimes it's babysitting. And so we've been able to really fully offer that service in a way that our community feels most comfortable. So we rely on our member to find the vendor that they like the most, whether it's for taking their kids to school or an after school care program, because we trust their judgment and we trust that within their community they know what works. And so we'll provide assistance with that. We've also expanded the amount of transportation services that we offer, because transportation is just a huge need down here in Miami, where nothing is close to where you need to be and the traffic is just awful. So for some of our members, if they rely on public transportation, it can take them over 3 hours to get to their treatment center. And so we really want to be able to get them where they need to be as quickly as possible and back home to be with their family.
Yeah, so good. I was just thinking about, when I first met you, I was like, 305 Pink Pack. What does that 305 mean? You want to just share everybody with everyone? They may know more than I do, but
So 305 is the area code in Miami. If you're familiar with Pitbull, he's Mr. 305. I'm Mrs. 305 for all intents and purposes. There's also another area code 786, but that just doesn't sound as cool, so we're 305. We're pink because it started because of breast cancer, which is what I had. But if you look at the colors around our logo, those are all the colors of the cancers that women can have in our community. And then we're a pack for two reasons. We're a pack because we're the pack that has your back during your diagnosis, but we're also a pack because this all started because of a pack, a literal pack. My first chemo friend, Suzette, who is also one of our founders, I met her through my sister. I had never met her before, but she shows up to my very first chemo, bald as can be, of going through ovarian cancer treatment, and hands me a pack full of items that would be helpful during treatment, and sat there with me and explained every single one what they were good for. And that inspires our pack. So every member that newly enrolls in our program receives a pack full of items, many of those which Suzette gave me when I was diagnosed, but then other things that we've found along the way to be helpful. And it's just a little care package of love that we've provided for them.
Oh, I love it. So good. Thank you. That was a little bit off script there, Erin, but I remember thinking
No,
that.
I was going
I
to say,
remember
so
thinking
I,
that, and I
I
was like,
keep
oh, I
go,
love their names. Yeah.
Thank you.
I know. Well, and again, I kind of keep going back to there's so many close parallels to the thoughtfulness that goes into what you provide to your community,
Mhm.
their first touch point when they get connected with you.
Yes,
And
yes.
and I just love that so much. And like I said, Rosemary, I am excited to see what is ahead for 305 Pink Pack, but I digress because I want to keep
Yeah.
sharing more because the work that you do is really important, especially to the culture and the community which you serve. And we know that there are different needs for different cultures, and people seek out support in different ways. So, can you speak a little bit to how the Latina and non-Latina groups in the 305 community, the differences that you've learned and that you are well aware of in terms of how to best reach the different populations of patients that you support?
No, absolutely. We work with a primarily Latin population here. Close to 80% of the women we serve are Latina. I myself am Cuban, And the way that we process information is a little bit differently. The way that we connect is a little bit different. And we particularly have seen that in our programming, our group events, our support events, where it's a little bit uncomfortable and unusual for Latin women to sit around and talk to people who they don't know and just share everything about their diagnosis and their history. And so what we've found is that the traditional format of a support group doesn't work. Instead, what we do is we do a non-cancer related activity to really get the community together just in a fun atmosphere that they can then start to connect a little bit more organically in a way that's not just because of cancer, but because we're sitting next to each other and having a conversation, and I think you're great. Most recently, what we did is that we had a candle making class where we invited the ladies out. They all got to do a lot of manual activities, which is great for those who are experiencing neuropathy. It's like these little tricks that we include in our group events. Candle making so that they can work with the neuropathy. We had a wonderful speaker who came in and spoke about pelvic health issues, both in Spanish and English, because we try to make all of our events bilingual and accessible. And by the end of the afternoon, people were just laughing, smiling, trading their phone numbers on WhatsApp. Everybody uses WhatsApp. That's the other thing. Texting is not a thing. It's WhatsApp. But it's a really wonderful way to see people connect without making them feel too overly vulnerable. So it's on their terms, but we're still all together here for this reason. And we all know that we're here to connect, but we don't have to just outwardly be so vulnerable.
Yeah. It's just joy, right, Rosemary? Like
Okay.
everybody deserves joy, and to bring that
Exactly.
joy back in your life at a time that it's really dark, like let's be honest, it's dark,
It
it's
is.
dark. So just your approach is, we commend it. We hear the same. We feel the same. We do the same. We just, have them cook on a cooking webinar because it's just
Exactly.
joyful. It's just joyful. But behind the scenes, they're chatting with each other, right? They're
Exactly
connecting on
right.
certain things. Oh, did that happen to you? Or right, what did you use for that side effect? So I just love that. I love the candle making. And Erin, of course, I had my ear very open when she said that she was doing the pelvic floor in Spanish, because we're actually doing a segment, and we have this whole El Capacito that we do for the Spanish community. So maybe we can connect with your resources and put that on our site as well, so we can get that.
The feedback that we
Absolutely.
had from that talk was unbelievable. So we're really looking to expand on that because it's something that it's not talked about. And
Yeah,
when we
no,
go,
and they don't know. They just don't know,
right, exactly, because
Yeah.
when you're talking to your providers about the side effects that you experience during treatment, it's all the big ones that we talk about, like
Correct.
nausea, vomiting, weight loss, weight gain, that type of thing. But this is never talked about. And
Yeah.
when we're seeing so many young women being diagnosed, this is something that's going to affect them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
I myself personally have had to go through pelvic floor therapy now for the past 3 years to deal with the issues that I experienced from my treatment, which ended almost 7 years ago already. And
Yeah.
so it's really important for us to be open about our experience so then they can understand that this is okay to talk about and we need to do something about it. So we're really excited to keep that conversation going and open and really accessible for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. And that there's things that you can do, and PT can be done, and people don't realize that there are these options for resources. I agree 100%, because we don't talk about the pelvic floor except when you give birth. I feel like that was the only time I know that I even thought about the pelvic floor, right?
Yeah,
And it really is
exactly.
something that we have to continue with. Yeah.
And you
All
don't
right.
realize how much is related to your pelvic floor.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Erin, we'll put a note to self. We'll be emailing Rosemary about that one as well for our community.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Love
good.
that.
Well, I think about, Rosemary, all the needs that our Latino community have, and we lean on you and other advisors in our community to make sure that we are culturally aligned as well. Can you tell me what your biggest need is for the Latino population that you serve, that you're seeing right now?
Financial assistance. These are women that are working as home health aides and caregivers. And so when they aren't working because they're not feeling well, they're not getting any kind of income. And so how do they pay their rent? How do they pay for their
Yeah.
groceries? So really financial assistance is what we see the greatest need. And then with the cost of living down here in Miami has just become
Mm.
unbelievably unattainable. And I don't know if
Mm.
you're familiar with the Alice thresholds. It's
Yes.
families who are asset limited, income constrained, and employed. So these are families that are working and making a little bit above the federal poverty level, so they don't
They don't
qualify
mean
for
it.
services. So these women are being very, very impacted because they are also
Yeah.
experiencing this loss of income. They're one emergency away from falling into poverty, and where do they get this help? And I'm sure that you've seen with your constituents how there's so many of the financial assistance programs that open and close
Oh,
so
within
quickly.
minutes. No, and it's frustrating, Rosemary. Like
Extremely.
they get so discouraged. Like, I'm not even going to apply. I'll log in and all the grants are gone in, 10 minutes. And
Exactly.
yeah, or
Exactly. And
even
so
less.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and we help them in doing those applications, but as soon as we start to log on, we'll go one by one. If you
Mm-hmm.
go to our website, you'll find the financial assistance page. And so we've
Mm-hmm.
listed everything that we find that you can use either nationally or specifically in Florida.
Yeah.
We go one by one with each of our members and see what's open. And it's, I mean, everyone is really taking a hit right now.
Well, I think you are very aligned, seeing the need that we see too with our Latino community. And we're serving about 260 Spanish speaking only members right now. And the number one usage is our grocery gift cards
Mm-hmm.
and the food delivered to the home and the fresh vegetables delivered to the home. And that helps them meet that budget gap that you talked about. And Erin and her team sees a lot of that. And of course, it's led by Catherine, who you know. And we're happy that we can do that. Our financial assistance looks a little different because we literally give the food, right?
Right.
We're not giving the cash, we give the food, but boy, it's powerful and it's
And it's,
impactful. And then they get registered dietitian,
yeah.
appointments to connect. So, yeah, I understand. I understand completely. I'm so glad you're there, Rosemary. I can't say it enough.
Likewise, you know,
Yeah.
I feel like our collaboration is making such a difference in the community. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when they hear information from us and then they hear the same information from you,
Right.
it filters in a little
Right.
bit better. Because, you
Right.
know, with chemo brain, we only process maybe 20% of what we hear.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's important to continue hearing this information from different points of view. And it's information that's important for these women to have. So I'm so grateful for this partnership. It's
Mm-hmm.
really wonderful.
Totally agree.
Absolutely.
And that chemo
Yeah.
brain is real.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes people overlook it and it's real. There's time I look back at that first year of my therapy and I
Mhm.
cannot remember.
No,
I
it's
remember all the trauma, Rosemary. I can't remember like the small details,
mhm.
family, kids, like, but the trauma I remember. And
Yeah.
that is real and it continues. It's not just short term.
Oh no.
So that's another area that I'm sure you're helping your community with too. And this understanding that that is normal and not to feel embarrassed by it.
Exactly. And I tell them, I'm like, I still have chemo brain after all this
Hmm.
time. You know, my
Yep.
memory never
Yep.
fully came back,
Yep.
and I still struggle with short-term memory issues. Although now I started taking piano lessons, one of those things that I've always wanted to do and
Mm,
always put off. And I found that that's made a significant difference in
wow.
improving my memories. I said, okay, let's
Yeah.
learn, let's keep with this.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but you know,
It's a muscle, right?
yeah,
It's a muscle. Yeah.
yeah. And I
Perfect.
think they just need to hear that reinforcement that, okay, I'm not the only one that is
Right.
experiencing this. I'm not going nuts because this is a normal occurrence. And it's just that reinforcing that it's okay to talk about it.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you for that.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely. And so, we talk a lot about sort of collaboratively serving patients in the breast and ovarian because that is the community that
Hmm.
we serve. But again, you mentioned that circle around your 305 Pink Pack logo. You serve those men and women with cancer diagnoses. Is that correct?
So right now it's only women
Okay.
with any cancer, although we're looking to change things up a little bit soon. So we'll
Okay.
see.
Okay.
We will
We'll
see.
be on the lookout. Okay. And
Yeah.
English and Spanish. So bilingual uh for your area.
Yes,
Yeah.
bilingual for our area, and we actually have somebody coming on board as a volunteer to help us with our Creole population as well. So we're looking forward to that. Yeah.
Amazing. It's good. One of the things, Erin, we work with Rosemary is just thinking about collaborative grants that we can get because we feel like we might be stronger together. And but Rosemary, you were talking about the different area codes, not just 305 that you serve. Can you share some of the other areas that you serve?
Yeah.
Well, right now it's just 305,
Oh, I'm
which
sorry.
is our,
I
it's okay,
swore there
it's
was
our
another
area
one.
code.
Okay.
But coming up, hopefully in 2027, we're working on expanding to the next county over, which would be our
Great.
954 Pink Pack. So we have a group of amazing women in that area who are working really hard to bring the program to there. So we're looking forward to that. We're really
Perfect.
hoping to see that happen. And then maybe one day
Yeah.
we'll be national like you.
Oh, amazing. That will not surprise me, Rosemary. Will not
I would
surprise
love it.
me.
I would love it.
Would not. Mhm.
Aw.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's good to know because, as we are sharing information and as we're connecting, our dietitian team, Catherine, we're connecting with our members. Anytime we see that 305 area code, sharing those resources, you mentioned transportation and childcare services. And Sue and I talk so often, we're better
Mhm.
together. So when we hear that, and those
Yeah.
questions will come up, do you know anyone that offers transportation or child, these different needs, it's good to know so we can sort of tune in and say, here, let me send you the link to 305 Pink Pack because we can all do better together.
Absolutely. I mean, we
Yeah.
can't do it all, but together we
Correct.
absolutely can do a whole lot. So
Correct. Yeah.
it's really about tapping into as many resources that we can. And I'm a firm believer in not reinventing the wheel. So if somebody's doing a great job at like
Yes.
wellness in our
Yes.
community, then I am
Yes.
Yes.
happy to collaborate because
Yes.
it's there's so many different needs in our community that we really need the experts in that specific niche to be the experts. So let's let them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you're ready for that next area code, we're there for you.
Yay! Thanks.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
So good.
So for those that may fall into 305 area and
Mhm.
the guidelines, if they're going to your website or filling out their application, what would you like them to know? What should they have handy? What sort of information is needed as they get started with you?
So we'll request a letter from their oncologist with specific information on the diagnosis, like diagnosis date, subtype if it's a breast cancer diagnosis, the stage, whether or not it's metastatic. And the reason that we request that letter is because then we use that letter to apply to all these different financial assistance programs on their behalf. And so that way we don't have to be asking them to supply a new letter each time or connect with their social worker who is already probably extremely overwhelmed.
Mhm.
So we have that all on our side. We also request for some kind of financial documents just to see what their income level is so that we can know which programs they would qualify for. There's no financial requirement to be in our program because we believe that everybody takes a hit when they get this diagnosis, but that just helps us identify the specific programs in our community and nationally that can also help them. So once we have that
Amazing.
information on our side, then what we do is that we set them up for an interview to really just get to know them and get to know their needs. And then this way we can tailor the program specifically to what would help them the best. And then we check in a lot. We call every couple of weeks just to check in and make sure that there aren't any additional needs that need to be served. And we'll follow up for a good year after they're done with treatment because we know that that time frame
Doesn't
after you're
stop.
done with your diagnosis, once you're done with
Mhm.
radiation and you want to feel better the next day and you don't, what do you
Mhm.
do? And so that gap in time is really critical in helping people get back to their life, back to work. And so we try to connect them with resources that will help during that time too.
Yeah, I love that you don't have that financial qualification, that burden, because you are so right. We do the same,
Yeah,
Rosemary. Like if you are diagnosed with cancer, you will have a financial burden. We just
absolutely.
saw, yeah, we just saw data from John Hopkins that talked about how, well, breast cancer is the highest amount of financial strain of all the cancers that is out there. And 50% of our, those that they surveyed had at least one financial stressor due to their cancer diagnosis. We just surveyed our own community. We were just curious, and not just our
Mhm.
underserved. We did the whole community. 88%, Rosemary, said that they had one financial stressor. It happens. It
Oh,
happens.
absolutely.
So
We
I'm
survey them
really,
when they first start the program to see
yeah,
what their stress levels are about different specific areas, and they
Mhm.
will be more stressed about finances than they are about their
their own
actual
cancer.
diagnosis.
You
And it's
got
like,
it.
my goodness, when you're worrying
No,
about that, how can you really concentrate on healing or and making any kind of informed decision about your care? It's really impossible.
yeah. Yeah, I know you were talking about how our community makes choices, and um, That's why I'm so glad you do the childcare and the transportation. We don't do that, right? We're in our lane. And I remember one of our members, Sana, saying that she was so grateful that she got the grocery gift card because she would literally not eat because she had to have money to take transportation to get to her chemo.
Exactly.
And now she had access to this, gift card. And I'm sure you hear very similar stories that they have to make really difficult choices.
Okay.
Um,
It's
and wherever we
unfortunate.
can lean in, yeah, it's unfortunate, and wherever we can lean in to make that difference and bridge that gap, that doesn't just stop after chemo's done or after radiation's done.
Mhm. It
Yeah.
certainly does not.
Yeah. Well, I hear you have a big event coming up in June. You want to share with us about that event?
Absolutely. Because we work with a largely Hispanic population and there is a lack of information in Spanish, a lack of resources that really are practical. We have created our first survivorship summit fully in Spanish, and it's called
Oh my
Vivir y Avanzar.
gosh. Yay.
It's open to anyone who's had a cancer diagnosis. It's not cancer, any specific subtype of cancer. It's not
Mm-hmm.
for men or women. It's for everyone, including caregivers and even medical providers we're welcoming to the event. And what we're going to focus on is specifically the needs of the Latino population when they're going through their survivorship. Getting a better understanding of genetics, genomics, and family testing, why your family has to know, because in our culture, it's
Mm-hmm.
total taboo, who had
Mm.
cancer. So we're really going
Yeah.
to touch on that, discussing financial concerns, how to get out of this financial hole, and then connecting them to resources in our community and nationally that can help. There's a lot of programs that will do free financial planning for you, but if you don't know they
Wow.
exist, how are you going to
Yeah.
access them? And
Yeah.
then work assistance programs, job placement programs. Another
Mm.
panel will be discussing living with long-term side effects. And then we're going to have one very special panel on the male perspective because our Latino
Mm.
males get often overlooked, and there's such a stigma with being a Latin male that you can't show emotion. So we're going to have a panel specifically so that our amazing panelists can share their experience as a caregiver and then
Mm.
also as a cancer patient and give us
Oh,
some powerful
so
words there.
good.
So yeah, we're looking forward to it. We're really
Oh, it's
excited
so
to,
good.
and it's going to be offered both in person here in Miami and then virtually as well. So anybody can access it at any time. And then it'll live on demand on our YouTube page too.
Amazing. Could you give us a link in the chat on that? And then
We've,
we'll
yep,
copy
we've
it.
got that.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Great.
we should put that event link. And
I
that
would
is
love
June
to do
6th
that.
coming up, correct?
Correct. It'll be June 6th.
Thank you, Erin. Yeah, we would, any way we can lean in, let us know. We're happy to do so.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so
Love
good.
that. Yep. Wonderful. And so we also do, a lot of work supporting clinical trials here at Unite for Her and always advocating for looking into clinical trials, seeing what is available. And I understand you're also working in that same space, recruiting in the Florida area for a particular clinical trial. Do you want to share a little bit about that in the event anyone that is tuning in may be eligible?
Absolutely. We're focusing on a study about mapping patient-centered decision-making in metastatic breast cancer care here in Florida. So we're looking for women who have been diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer in the past 12 months who are receiving their treatment in the state of Florida. It doesn't have to be Miami, it can be anywhere in Florida. And it is a paid survey opportunity, which includes 4 virtual interviews, each of which is compensated for. And it's really just to understand how you make a decision during your metastatic breast cancer treatment. So we want to learn more about that so that we can really give providers the information that they need to help patients make those best possible choices for themselves. And so we will be recruiting patients through the end of May. And anyone who's interested in learning more can reach out to us and we'll be happy to screen them to see if they qualify for the study.
Great. Is that
Excellent.
just
So we'll
like
make sure.
a info at 305? How do you want them to reach out?
Yeah, they can call us or they can email at info@305pinkpack.org.
Perfect. Perfect.
Perfect. Yep. And we'll put the link to your website if it hasn't been posted already. We'll pop that in the chat on
Yeah.
Facebook as
Yeah.
well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Rosemary, thank
Okay.
you so much. It's so good. And is there anything that we didn't touch on that you'd love to share besides that beautiful new space you're in?
Oh
Oh,
no, we've been here for a week and
Ah,
it's really exciting. We went from basically a shoe closet to this space that really gives us a home for not just for ourselves, but for our members and our volunteers to come together. And it's so far been absolutely amazing. So I can't wait to see what else we can accomplish here and where this all will go. I'm really,
Yeah.
really excited to see
Oh,
what's to
so
come.
good. It's so good, Rosemary. Congratulations.
Thank
And it
you.
just more to come. We can see it. And I'm so glad and fortunate that we have you as a partner. It has helped our Latino community expand and grow, and you've helped us make sure we're culturally aligned. You know, we don't know what we don't know until we ask. And we're just so grateful that we have you as well as a sounding board. So thank you
Oh,
for everything that you do.
likewise, you help so much and you do so much for the community. And again, I'm just so grateful to be able to have you as a partnership in supporting this incredible community that we serve.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
We'll be cheering you on. We'll be cheering you
Yep,
on as you
we
continue to
will.
evolve. So we look forward to seeing what's ahead for you.
Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
excited to keep growing with you guys.
Well, thank you, Rosemary.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. That's so good, Erin, right?
Oh my gosh, amazing,
No.
amazing work. And so good to learn, more about what they offer if you're in the 305 area, how you
Mhm.
can tap into those services and even participate in some of those great events like candle making. That sounds
I
great.
know. Yeah, I'm loving the survivorship conference. I don't think I have heard of one yet. That's only in Spanish for
Yep.
the
Yeah.
community. It's incredible. We'll have to make sure Catherine's aware, and I'm sure she is.
Yeah.
I'm sure she is.
Yep,
But
absolutely. And
it's so good.
in person and streamed virtually. So
Yeah.
definitely, across the country,
Yeah.
sharing so that people can tap in. So love that.
Yeah,
Grateful.
we'll do the same. This is why we do
Yep.
these spotlights, right? Always spotlighting all of our partners. We have over 100 of them across the nation. And that allows us to recruit over 8,000 individuals a year. And they're one of them, mostly our Latino communities. So we're really grateful
Mhm.
to Rosemary. And it was great. Thank you, Erin.
Mm, absolutely, absolutely. And I will say, we're our next community partner that we will sponsor will be a little later on this spring out of Chicago, Advocates for Community Wellness. So be on the lookout if
Mhm.
you are in the Chicago area. So looking forward to all of that. But let's not get ahead of ourselves before we have our virtual hangout next week. The little makeup, not tattoo, with a tattoo specialist,
Yes,
but a
yes.
makeup how to. 22nd, 4 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to register on Zoom and learn some of those expert tips and techniques so we can all be our best self. And then we have our Q&A with Dr. Evelyn Taiwo, all about endocrine therapy. So, an expert in this space to answer your questions. This conversation comes up so often, so we know it will be a lively one. So be sure to submit your questions ahead of time, all of which you can access uniteforher.org/UFH Connect.
Amazing. And one more time, we can't do what we do without our donors and sponsors and supporters. And UFH Connect would not exist and have these incredible experts on with Erin without their support. So West, Merck, Lilly, and Gilead Sciences, they are our lead presenting sponsors. Thank you so much for all you do. Our gold sponsors are Pfizer, GSK, Daiichi Sankyo, and then supporting sponsors are AbbVie, Agendia, and TerraSeris Therapeutics.
Yep.
Most grateful, and thank you for allowing us to continue to grow.
Wonderful. All right. What a
All
great
right.
afternoon. So,
Good
thank you so
afternoon.
much. And thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Have a great one.
Have a great day.